Hello guys and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be making another empire, and that is an empire for Saudi Arabia. First thing I should mention here is that this is an unrealistic scenario, so some things are going to be happening here that could never happen in real life, and I'll be explaining a few world events as we go. But this is a new Saudi Arabian government, probably a dictatorship, that was just put into power by accident, and now wants to expand Saudi Arabia into a massive global superpower, more than they already are. They're going to begin this by annexing Qatar, by annexing Kuwait, and yeah, these are two smaller, weaker countries, but they are both very rich, have a lot of oil, and will help Saudi Arabia grow as a global superpower quite a bit. After this, they go to their first war, which is going to be war against Yemen. Also, this is their island. But this isn't going to be very difficult for Saudi Arabia. Yemen is in a tough situation, to say the least, and Saudi Arabian troops are quickly able to cut the country into two. And do I even need to explain what's going to happen? Oh, look at that. Yemen is dead. With that, Yemen is fully annexed by the Saudi Arabians, expanding their influence in global politics even more, as there are four Middle Eastern superpowers: Saudi Arabia, Iran, Turkey, and Egypt. Saudi Arabia wants to make that one, and whoever they let be with them. With that, they decide their first goal is to take over the Arabian Peninsula, and both the UAE and Oman agree to join them. There are a few slight issues with this, but honestly, they all speak the same language and have similar culture thanks to religion. So it isn't completely insane, although the odds of it are kind of made up, but still. The UAE and Oman's options here are die or just be annexed. Might as well save your people if you can. So yeah, that's the decision they make. And now Saudi Arabia controls pretty much the entire Arabian Peninsula. And now they are not Saudi Arabia, they are just known as Arabia. This is expanded upon as they annex Jordan, who also agrees to join them. And now Saudi Arabia really has cemented their place as number one in the Middle East. This is very good for them, as they now control a lot of the oil supplies for the world. And yeah, as I said, their influence is growing and growing and growing, as many countries are trying to get on their good side. This next war, though, is going to be what sparks off a massive Middle Eastern conflict, as they declare war on Iraq, and that causes Iran to join in, who is just fed up of Saudi Arabia expanding and leaving them behind. So let's go and show what would happen here. First, there's some watercolors that aren't put in correctly. So yeah, Saudi Arabian troops are quickly going to begin to push across the border into Iraq, but Iranian troops are going to be able to stop them before they make too much progress. With that, a quick stalemate is reached, but not before a few other countries get involved, as this is going to turn into a massive Middle Eastern conflict, and that is with Syria joining the blue team, Lebanon joining the blue team, Turkey joining the red team, Azerbaijan red, Armenia blue, Georgia red. Israel put them on the red team for now, but relations with Saudi Arabia are still terrible. Palestine blue, and here we have our new Middle Eastern map. Egypt decides to refrain from joining, as it's pretty obvious to us who's going to win, but they decide not to join either way, as they won't gain almost anything. If they join the blue team, they'll lose, and if they join the red team, they won't gain a thing. So they just refrain from joining. Quickly, Israeli troops push into Palestine and Lebanon. Along with that, Saudi Arabian troops help them push into southern Syria, and they meet up with Turkey in Syria. From here, Turkey invades Cyprus, and this causes Greece to join in. It wasn't meant to attack Greece, but by attacking Cyprus, I don't really know what the Turks expected here. Although, oh look at that, what a coincidence. A majority of the Turkish army is already on the Greek border. Yeah. Definitely didn't expect Greece to join in Turkey. Definitely not. Yeah, definitely not. But with that, Turkish troops begin to push into Greece, capturing a lot of the panhandle over here near Thrace. And although the Greek army attempts to push back, a stalemate is quickly reached as neither side makes progress. Turkey makes some island hoppings, although it's not nearly enough to justify the amount of people that are killed. Both sides want to win this and refuse to sign a peace treaty this early on. Meanwhile, Azerbaijani, Georgian, and Turkish troops are pushing into northern Armenia and linking back up Azerbaijan in their panhandle. Meanwhile, Iranian troops are pushing into southern Turkey, as Turkey is dedicating a lot of troops to Greece and cannot handle both Iran and Greece at the same time. Iran also begins to push into Azerbaijan, capturing their panhandle and pushing back up into Armenia. With this, we see a stalemate being reached, but as Turkish troops continue to push into Greece as they want to wipe out the country as soon as possible, we see the Iranians making a lot of progress over here into eastern Turkey, recapturing all of Armenia, pushing back into Azerbaijan and Georgia. And overall, Iran is pushing back here. Iran is winning, and Iran is winning by far. Over here near Iraq and Syria, though, Iran is having a very tough time holding the line, as Saudi Arabian and Israeli forces are able to overwhelm them. Or I should just call it Arabian and Israeli forces. That's just what they're called now. Change the name. We see the capital staying at Riyadh, though. With that, Saudi Arabian forces begin to push into Iran, although Iranian troops along the mountains stop them through some guerrilla warfare techniques. They also finished taking down Iraq, as Iran abandoned the country, seeing no point in holding some deserts. Which honestly, I don't know why anyone would go for that. But Iraq has some fertile land along like the Euphrates and Tigris, yeah. With that though, Turkish troops who had abandoned their east have now taken Athens, and Greece has capitulated. They do need to station a lot of troops here to quell any rebellions, but they start pushing back the Iranians, as a lot of the Turkish military is back and are ready to take back their land. They push back into Georgia, recapturing the country, push back into Turkey and Azerbaijan, and eventually Iranian troops are ordered out of any red team lands that they may still occupy. They exit Armenia and just attempt to hold a border in the mountains. This does not go well, though, as this war is clearly in favor of the red team, and that's just showing more and more, with 0 countries agreeing to help Iran, not even Russia, who does not want to expand this war any further. Nobody wants this war to exist, and everyone's telling Iran to give up. Iran refuses to give up, but eventually this happens, and this happens. Oh, and then Turkey makes a breakthrough in northern Iran, meeting up with the rebellion. Oh, an encirclement happened? Oh, all Iranian troops surrendered. Oh, Saudi Arabia is beginning military operations along the coast with their superior navy. Oh, a lot more of Iran is rebelling. Look at that, Iran, you've just capitulated. Great job. You now no longer exist and are about to be divided up by 2 of your biggest enemies, 3 of your biggest enemies of all time. So yeah, let's go and draw in these new borders, as Iran has lost completely and has no say in what happens to them now. Saudi Arabia takes a lot of southern Syria and pushes into Iraq, whilst also taking a good amount of the Iranian coast, seeing it rich with oil and needing all of that oil. Meanwhile, Turkey pushes into northern Iraq and Iran, wanting to get close to the capital so Iran can never again threaten the Turkish border. They also go ahead and unite with Azerbaijan to form a new Turkish government and a new Turkish state. Some other countries consider joining, but none do, because this is Saudi Arabia's video and I'm not going to divert into full-on global events. But at this point, Saudi Arabia is ramping up every industry and turning into quite the world power. They start building a lot of things, as hey, they're in the Middle East. Jeddah Tower is finally finished, and a few other mega projects over in Dubai and Qatar. So yeah, a lot of things are going well for Saudi Arabia. All of their industries are booming, and honestly here they have a choice, east or west, but seeing as they just killed off Iran, Russia's mad at them, and they decide to reconcile with the US and form an alliance of defense between the 2 countries. This will break soon, though, as a few events are going to happen that lead to all Saudi Arabia and US relations being cut off. I'll show you that in a second. But first, let's go ahead and finish drawing in these new borders for all red team troops and all red team armies that have participated and won the war. As I said, Georgia refrains from joining this Turkish alliance for now, but they could very well join later for protection against the Russians and the two rebellious regions in Abkhazia and South Ossetia. I think that's how you say it. If it's not, then sure, but that's as well as I can pronounce them. Also, it's raining outside, so not much I can do about that. Hopefully you haven't heard it yet, and hopefully you can't hear it. But if you can, then I'm just going to try and talk over it. With that though, also Turkey is not annexing all of Greece. I don't know why the borders aren't drawn in. There we go. So yeah, let's go and decolor in Greece here, who is finally let go after a lot of their land is taken, along with the majority of their islands. Turkey now has full naval dominance in the region, and Greece is heavily sanctioned, making them never be able to challenge Turkish authority in the region ever again. We also see Iran being let go after being given all that's left of Iraq, which was not strong enough to survive. Georgia gained a tiny bit of land out of Armenia, but like I said, they may consider joining the Turkish alliance in the future, as it can provide them with the protection they need against the growing Russian threat. Although at this point Saudi Arabia and Turkey make an alliance, kind of unlikely, but the new Iranian government, which is heavily influenced by the Saudi Arabians and the Turkish, and is basically under the full control of the rebellion that popped up in favor of them, decides to join as well, forming the new Middle Eastern Pact. The only country that doesn't join is Israel, who has now annexed Palestine fully and gotten most international recognition for it. Although they still see some rebellions in the regions, and the region that used to be Palestine, as it does not want to be a part of Israel, let's just say that. Okay, there we go. Let's go ahead and color Turkey in white here, and we can go ahead and see pretty much our final war of this video, and that is going to be the war that ends US-Saudi Arabian diplomatic they try to fix it up, doesn't work, and this is why. Saudi Arabia decides that they need to expand. They don't know where to go. There's one country on their border who hates them, and they hate them. And why not get revenge? They declare war on Israel. This is going to be a long, hard war, but Saudi Arabian troops do begin their advance into southern Israel, cutting them off from the Red Sea, along with pushing across to try and capture Jerusalem, and up north into present day. Well, they just begin to push into all of Israel. There's not really anything to say, but they do begin to push into present day Lebanon, capturing Beirut, and pushing Israel back to the borders they used to have. We see a lot of Palestinians rebel on the side of the Saudi Arabians, as they may not be given their own state, but with the fall of Jerusalem and the split of Israel into two, we could see the US getting involved here. We could see that. But honestly, this is a faraway war, and Saudi Arabia has managed to switch US opinion on the war. And after promising some semi-autonomous regions to be set up, Saudi Arabia is allowed to annex Israel. And yeah, Saudi Arabia has just finished their final war, securing their hold on the Middle East, and have now formed their own sphere of influence. We have the East, we have the West, and now we have the center. So yeah, they've tried to form up their own kind of alliance to combat the US's and the Chinese and Russians. It's not going to be the strongest, but hey, Saudi Arabia's made an empire. They are now a massive global influence. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.